Onondaga Lake has undergone a transformation few thought possible. Through the extraordinary efforts of government, Honeywell, academia, elected leaders, and Central New Yorkers, Onondaga Lake is now becoming a source of pride and optimism for local residents and an economic driver for the region. Restoring Onondaga Lake is well underway. Lake water quality is now the best it's been in 100 years. Honeywell has removed more than 2 million cubic yards of contaminated material from the lake and installed an isolation cap on 475 acres of the lake bottom. The cleanup plan, which was issued by state and federal regulators, is based on sound science. The plan was made up of 4 key steps. Honeywell started by cleaning up former factory sites and building a 1.5-mile-long underground steel barrier wall up to 77 feet deep, as well as an adjacent groundwater collection system. The wall and collection system intercept contaminated groundwater from those sites so it can be treated to meet the standards of the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation before it is returned to the lake. Scientists and engineers spent many years taking thousands of samples from the lake bottom, identifying the areas where more than 2 million cubic yards of contaminated material was removed. 3 powerful dredges worked along the lake bottom to vacuum up the contaminated material. During dredging, metal teeth on the dredge, called the cutter head, rotated to loosen the lake material and break it into smaller pieces that were hydraulically suctioned into the dredge. The material was then pumped about 4 miles through a secure double-walled pipeline for safe, long-term isolation in a lined consolidation area. There, the watery mix was screened to remove stones and debris. The contaminated material was pumped into high-strength containers called geotextile tubes, which were placed on drainage stones, a high-strength plastic liner, and a protective clay layer. Lake water draining from the tubes was treated on-site to meet regulatory standards. After it met DEC standards, it was returned to the lake. All of the sediment-filled geotextile tubes were sealed with a liner and covered to ensure long-term isolation, and planted with native vegetation and grasses. The native vegetation and grasses will provide an important, sustainable habitat for grassland birds and other wildlife. Lake dredging was completed in November 2014, a year ahead of schedule. The entire process, including air quality, was monitored for public safety with oversight by the DEC. An isolation cap was placed over shallow water portions of the lake bottom to seal in any remaining contamination. The isolation cap provides a new, clean lake bottom and a new habitat layer to promote underwater vegetation growth and fish spawning.
What we're looking at here is the largest of our 3 dredges here at the Onondaga Lake project. This particular dredge we're looking at has a 1,000 horsepower pump on it. For this project, it's pumping 5,500 gallons per minute. The cutter head is turning approximately 25 to 30 RPM. It's going slow to make sure that we churn up the material to allow us to pump it up the line. The operators sit up in an elevated cab. That way they can have a good overview of the whole area that we're dredging. The equipment that we're using here is all state-of-the-art. The GPS equipment that we have on the dredges allows the operator to see the area that we need to go, not only side to side, but also the depth that we have to go to achieve the cleanup. The dredging process runs 6 days a week, 24 hours a day. We are implementing the cleanup under supervision of the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. During the project, we are removing about 2 million cubic yards of material. Honeywell expects to complete dredging by the end of 2014. That's a year ahead of schedule.